Good evening, good day, wherever you are. Crowds gather outside Buckingham Palace to pay tribute to Her Majesty the Queen II, who had allegedly passed away on the 8th of the 9th, 2020 in England. Do you want to know the truth of the 13 bloodline families involving kings and queens of the past and nobility, the underground dams, reptilian shape-shifting snakes? There's a lot of history. Do you want to know the truth about, sadly, what happened to Princess Diana in the 80s/90s? When did she pass away? Life's a stage. And if you don't believe the code word for this, London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. That's just a rhyme. But the world media stage, life's a stage. The code word London Bridge is falling down had taken place. Be prepared, because the current C, anything with the Queen's logo on it, will be changing. What to? Just be prepared and get your food, your water, and basic supplies. Because why this is a distraction, sadly, I'm not sure how they're going to officially have it in England. It could be, 70 years. What happened when a monarch passed away? Was it a 12 days mourning, national mourning? Were shops, businesses closed? I had a gut feeling something might be kicking off very quickly. So I just got some more basic supplies and got rid of used the last paper currency with the Queen's head on it, logo, just in case. So what I'm about to screen share is on and I know, be careful what you say about the monarch or anything online, offline, because MI5, MI6, whoever may be watching every single thing more than ever. If you're a target, even more so. There's no sound to this image. So, Buckingham Palace cannot put announcement of Her Majesty the Queen has died. An agent representing her estate does that. And all the estates go to Prince William. So they've already pre-prepared programs of memories of the late Queen. And the moment that those already knew. So let me just show you this image in the central London. Because it's a financial district and it's also an attraction for the world public that want to gather. It's raining. Do you know anything about the underground dams and military black ops? Sacrificing of innocent individuals. A lot of people may or may not know already. They may believe the mainstream media. Look at design and look at old videos or different platforms when there was a boy seen climbing out of the palace. This Buckingham Palace, one of the windows. That's I've been on social media a long time. But who was the royalist in the times we're living in? The media already been well placed in their positions. A whole long list. They all knew ahead of time. You don't get a whole list of these barriers where the media come along and gather. Till tomorrow. The Queen is dead. What another one? No one media live. Shame about Diana's sons, really. The radiation and the sun, red. It is red sunset tonight. I've got that on camera.
In motion. On a pretty momentous day in the life of the UK, I'm joined by Ash Sarkar. Thanks for joining me this evening. How have you absorbed it all?
I think that it's very rare that you can use the word historic to describe a day, and I think the last few years, the unprecedented
She's blinking a lot, isn't she?
quotidian, but this is truly historic. For most of us, this is the only monarch known for 70
Just watch his body language.
years, the longest reigning
And watch their eyes.
UK monarch. Whether you're a Republican, like many of us of our immediate, or a monarchist, we tend to measure our historical.
Look around the background or any images or things you can pick up.
Period. Country by kings and queens, and I think it would be hard pressed to think of a monarch under whose reign the country.
How do these young people know? You don't know your true history.
Has changed more.
It's difficult to know how to approach. I'm a Republican. I assume most of our audience are probably most likely Republicans. What the BBC tend to say in this kind of situation is, look, whether you're a Republican or what you can recognise, this woman has worked incredibly hard and been incredibly for her whole life. And for
examples of that, I think later Republican.
So a lot of these alternative social media.
Or something that Mary.
This is a better one. We are changed. It's really good.
When sort of presented with a child who would later become James VI of Scotland, James I of England, she said, "Think you I could love my own winding sheet?"
Who's in charge now?
One of the things that makes California a special place, by definition, is we're the 5th largest in the country.
We are changed. Brilliant.
That message coming probably to the residents of California very soon, then the United States, then the world. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski here. We are change.org, and there is a lot of absolutely crazy to get into today as the world is going to have to deal with some very serious consequences by some very unaccountable ruling elites that snub their nose at you as you're left to pay for the consequences of their actions against you. What is this really all about? Why is this happening? What's going to be their next target? Why is this extremely creepy man that loves spirit cooking going to be telling you about how you should be living your life? Well, we're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more. More crazy updates from Ukraine, a new potential conflict between Greece and Turkey, Belarus, and Poland. Well, if you decide to raise your temperature above 66 degrees Fahrenheit, we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. In related, liberals throwing you in jail are now the main suspect is the politician that, of course, that has been funding district attorneys that have been state charges of money laundering, conspiracy, and fraud. Censored.com, our own platform where we I just finished one AMA. I'm going to you and a lot of the other this as inflation, trendy issues they don't need to turn on the forefront of, and now green revolution as accountable government officials. That, of course, they're focusing on in the same footsteps of California, the White House. John Podesta been pushing for, quote, clean energy innovation. Push here, essentially, what has been historic.
It's not related, so. So let's educate yourself. Let's see what the 13 bloodline families are. And then you can see where the real history, how of these 13 bloodline families and the Illuminati, you know, they're really preparing the sky for Project Bluebeam. The mind control the masses if they're not already waking up to see through what's going on. You're going to have all your social interactions, everything more monitored. The radiation is very strong. Let's see if I can find that link I had a long time ago. The New World Order and Overview. Gives an introduction. Black and Nobility. Here you go. This is a worldwide claim to be a conspiracy being orchestrated by an extremely powerful influential group. Now, genetically related individuals, at least at the highest, which include many of the world's wealthiest people. Top, am I sharing the screen? Bear with me. They're still blocking me, so. There you go. Top of the page. So includes many of the world's wealthiest top politicians and the corporate elite, as well as members of the so-called black nobility of Europe. Now remember this, dominated by the British Crown, whose goal is to create one world fascist government stripped of a nationalistic and regional boundaries, and is adamant to their agenda. The intention is to effect complete total control over every human individual on this planet, to drastically reduce the world's population by 6.5 billion people to 500 million. While they name a new world order as a term frequently used today when referring to this group, it's more useful to identify the practical organization. And I need a drink. Listen to this.
Aboriginal people lived here for 40,000. Hey, you guys, this is Renata. I'm sure you've heard that Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. I knew that something serious was going on with her because I saw a picture of her yesterday where her hands were blue, like a purplish, bluish black. And I was surprised that she was actually doing like a speaking engagement under those conditions because it was obvious that something very serious was going on because of the discoloring in her skin, particularly around her hands. But she has passed away today. She was surrounded by family. So this article says Queen Elizabeth II
She's
dies
reading
at
of
96
mainstream
years old
media. What an
after a
idiot.
historic 70-year reign, plunging Britain in a world that loved her into mourning for an unparalleled life.
Really? You, God, our protector YouTube channel? Really? You are just a perpetrator. You're not a genuine TI. I knew that. Listen to this, what she says.
Time of service, duty, and devotion, and making Charles, which is her eldest son, the new king. So Charles is going to inherit the throne.
What about Princess Diana and what they did to her? And you see what's going to happen to Camilla now.
And then William will be after him. And then after William, there will be his children, which he has 3. So Harry will probably never be king. I'm pretty sure he knows that. Her son, Charles, the former Prince of Wales, is now king. He will address the shocked nation imminently as the world grieves Britain's longest reigning monarch.
Who's shocked? Oh, silly woman. She's just reading off a script of a news item. London Bridge is falling down. There's already planned. Unfortunately.
Her children and Prince William and Prince Harry had rushed to her bedside at Balmoral after doctors became concerned for her health. I haven't seen the official cause of her death. I'm pretty sure that'll come out in the next couple of days. And this article says that Harry was there, and I'm so glad that he made it there because he and Meghan were somewhere else doing a speaking engagement. I read that Meghan did not travel with him to see the king. She stayed wherever she is, and that she may come later. But I'm really glad that Harry made it there because of the big rift between he and his family. It would not have been a good look if he would not have been at her bedside with the rest of the family. So even though he's blacklisted because, he left that whole royal situation, but I'm still glad that he went. I do wish that he and Meghan would kind of cool it on exposing everything that's happening over there. They left and they need to just move on because at the end of the day, we may not agree with the whole royal situation and the way they do things. And I know there's a lot of evil things that go on there, but that is his family.
A lot of things. Come on, you silly little. Oh, here we go. The article. She doesn't know her history. You don't know. No disrespect, but come on. Each to their own. Each to their own. Oh, what? Let's have a cover this a minute. Someone's gone live. Diana Kane. Here's Diana Kane. I don't know you. What's this about? And don't want to know you. Interesting.
I don't like you, bitch. I don't like you, sir. I don't like you, Dana. I don't like you, sir. Is that a problem? And I like people that I like. I like the Browns. I'm cool with the Browns. Now, everybody who fucking Sarah's talking to or fucking hanging out with or doing her fucking thing with it has this fucking need to fucking come at me. So let me explain something to you, sir. I don't have any problem with you. And just because people that I hang out with got a problem with you, that ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying there, Sarah? So move the fuck on with life. Stop seeing these motherfucking crazy bitches and crazy fuckers like Sharon and fucking Dana at me, motherfucker. I'm tired of your fucking shit, Sarah. Like, cut that shit out. I know you're behind it, you dumb bitch. I ain't fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? Stop fucking with me. I'm tired of your shit, Sarah. Because I know it's you, ho. I know it's you. You act like I don't know. I know. All right, bitch. Fucking cut it out, bro. You know, Dana, I don't fucking know you, whore. I don't want to know you, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Stop sending fucking Dana K to me and talking about me. I mean, goddamn, what the fuck are you fucking with me for, Dana? I don't even own a dog. I don't own a fucking dog, bitch. What are you coming at me for, bitch? You know, I don't have a dog. There's nothing here for you. You know what I'm saying? Dana, move the fuck around, Dana. Move the fuck around, you whore.
So much
You fucking
drama.
dog fucking whore. Like, fuck off. I don't own a dog. You wouldn't be happy with, hanging out with me. I don't own a fucking dog, no. You know what I'm saying? I have cats. Cats ain't gonna do shit for you, okay? They're gonna tell you to fuck off and scratch your ass. They don't give a fuck about you, all right? Dana, like, go find you somebody dude with, some big ass dogs like, or some dogs like old American Dream. I don't know.
Okay, let's go back to okay, the room, Virgin Bloodline families. Now, the British Crown. Use close quote one world government strip off, as I said. Other than the New World Order is a term frequently used today when referring to the group. It's more useful to identify the principal organisations, institutions, individuals who make up vast, overlooking, widespread elite conspirators. The Illuminati is the oldest term, commonly used to refer to the 13 bloodline families and the offshoots that make up the major proportion of this controlling elite. Most members of the Illuminati are also members of the highest ranks of numerous secretive and occult societies, which in many cases extend straight back into the ancient world. The upper levels are the tightly compartmentalized need-to-know basis, in other words. Illuminati structure a pyramid include planning committees or organisations that the public has little or no knowledge of. The upper levels, you see, are the secretive, with such names as the Council of Three, the Council of Five, the Council of Seven, the Council of Nine, and the Council of 13, and the Council of 33, and the Grand Duke Council, and the Committee of 300, also called the Olympians, and the Committee of 500. But it's definitely under the new era. So I'm going to switch over to Dave Witcher's live stream, and he's very good of everyday things, and I'll come back to this history. It's very good.
Thanks for joining us on this show this day, and we're going to have quite a chilled out night tonight because Michael, my co-host, is in Cornwall. Like the old Ronnie Corbett show, isn't it? Remember when he used to sit in his chair and the old light used to pop down him. And I'm getting an old fossil as well now, and it's not that I've got any crinkle checker jumpers on. Maybe I should get a few. So yeah, Michael's in Cornwall having a very nice time, relaxing break with his partner. And so yeah, I've shared the link in the chat room. We're not going out on Facebook at the moment because the profile that I do use on Facebook, which has got a lot of people on it, is Michael.
I'm not going there. I'm not going. Anyway, I can't log into it at the moment. Facebook have decided to shut me out of that, which they did do in 2016 with a profile that I had 16,000 people. 16,000 people, that's almost as much as the British Army, Majesty. Majesty, this is almost as many as the British Army. And yes, all the schools in Balmoral are shut as of tomorrow. And it's not because the Queen's passed, no, it's because Prince Andrew is in town, is in town. So all the schools up there in Balmoral say, hey, look at your daughters, he's coming up there, Andy's on his way. Sorry, his company's college and his honor. Anyway, yeah, look, so whatever, Queen, I don't know. I'm not even going to talk about it because I live in a country, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, beautiful place. No one in the world has ever been here. We're nice people. Generally, we are nice people. The people are very nice. We're quite nice people. It's only the system that we're all kicking off about in many ways, guys. We're all kicking off about the system, whether it be they've come and kick your front door in, whether they've come and taken out your gas and electric meters and left you like little Oliver Twist there. With nothing, just you're going down to the pound shop there to buy your candles, so that's why I can't get too emotionally involved with the royal family. Now, if you'd have asked me this when I was a teenager or 11 or 12, 13 years old, I never really had much time for it back then. I did meet the Queen very briefly and Charles in Deptford years ago at school. The school I went to, secondary school, Haberdash Masks in New Cross. We went there and they said, "Oh, we're putting a film for the Queen." And as they walked past, and they stopped and spoke to a few of us, my mind was, even as such a young lad, I'm thinking, it's just men and women. All right, yeah, there's all this pomp and pageantry and all this. The Queen, I'm like, I don't see it and I never have. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. Myself, I've always thought we're all men and women. And look, if she just left a legacy where the country was tip-top condition, our roads were perfectly smooth, our kids weren't being shaken by social services, and the energy companies weren't raping your bank accounts, and we was all a jubilant people, we was all together, we was all happy, I'd be probably very, very upset. But because we're not, I'm not, and I'm not even going to talk about it tonight. We know, there are people out there saying that she passed quite some time ago. And we've had people standing in and they released these times and dates. I'm not even going into that. I can't be bothered with any of that.
The timeline's important.
What I'm trying to focus on at the moment is getting people across the line, getting you back to Dominion, getting your lives back in order. And like I say, if we was a fabulous country and everyone was having nice times, and look, everything that we're doing to get a level in the system, to me it's like a Hunger Games. It's like we're living in a Hunger Games situation. And Klaus Schwab, what is your kid doing out without the masks on? Yeah, and to me, I'm thinking, fucking hell, we just need to do the old jackboot walk. We'll be back in 1936. And they're saying, lots of people, I've got no time for the Klaus Schwabs of this world. I've got no time for all these so-called ruling elite ruling over us. Because no one's supposed to be ruling over anybody. That's the thing, yeah. I'm not a libertarian because liberty, the word liberty is a grant. It's a gift from the government, from the state. No, freedom is freedom. I love freedom, people. My whole life I've had this ethos. Like, even when my mum and dad, I just come off the nipple and I'm out. I'm out in the streets playing with my mates, climbing. I've just always had this overwhelming feeling to be free. And I just naturally assume that everybody else has the same feelings that run through them. So when you've got people with this so-called crown kicking your doors in and that, they've lied to you along the way. They've tricked you. They've deceived you into contracts that you don't know nothing about. And I've never ever done that in my life. Honestly, I've never done it in my life. I've had a few bits and bobs along the ways that hasn't always got the plan. I've had a few jobs that haven't got the plan, but not many. You could count them on less than 1%. And I've always tried to please people. I've always tried to leave their homes, and so that they're in higher spirits and they've got a top quality job. I just can't deceive. I hate deception. I hate the deceiving of people and stealing from people by deceptive ways. And that's what this system does. The devil, they tell it's the law. It's not the law. It's a colour of law. It's not the law. We're all bashed over the head. We seem to think that our freedoms come from, well, we can pay for an insurance, we can pay for a car insurance, we can pay to get on a ferry. No, that's not freedom, guys. And I'm sorry, it's just not freedom. So that's why I can't really get too involved with the monarchy and talk too much about that tonight, because I'm not overly interested. I'm really not. Peace, Love, Truth says 13 bloodline families, crown past. All I know is that in the scripture it says judgment is reserved for me, and that's God. He says judgment is reserved for me only, and that's it. And what we're doing at the moment, many of you, I don't know whether you know, we're going through a process. I'm going through a process that a Canadian man has gone through. And this Canadian man actually. He's leveled the playing field. He's got his life in order. He's actually got back to Dominion. And Dominion means freedom. Dominion means no rulers. It means that there is a man or woman in a government that can come and levy you and take stuff off you and deceive you and nick your kids. And that's what this man's done, and he's managed to do it over years. But how he's managed to do it is he's not led into his own thinking. He's not been classed as a conspiracy theorist, but he's actually applied the system and the law within the system, and he's done what he's got to do. Now, I'm in some groups with this, and it's all to do with a website called successors.ca, SUCCESSORS, and it's teaching you about the relationship of everyone screams birth certificate, and luckily I've got one to hand here, one of these things with the birth certificate, which has all got your name over it, and it's all in boxes, and everyone screams and leaps about and goes mad over it. But basically, all this is your inclusion into a society. That's all it is. That's the only, because it says it's not proof of ID, and it's absolutely correct. It is proof, and it's a receipt for the fact that you are part of a society, a group of people. Well, I wasn't, and this is where so many of us are waking up. So many. So this, which is just about to go in the post this week, funny enough, has a copy at the back of the certified copy of an entry. And basically, this is to the Attorney General of England. And I'm putting this out here for public notice as well, because this is going in the post. And if the Attorney General fails to respond and don't do what I'm asking, then I will go to the small claims court and take a case against the Attorney General in the small claims court, because that's where people are having quite good results now. Now, we have the absolute right to rescind and say, no, thank you. No, thank you, because that's not a right that it's an inherent right. You have an inherent right to say, cool, this is getting a bit stinky, I'm pulling out. It's like, lads, if you, no, I'm not going to use that. I was going to say, if you've been with a girlfriend and you think, well, after a while, I'm not too sure. You rescind. We rescind from these relationships.
I'll watch this later.
If you've got a friend and the friend.
It has now. Let's have a look. Oh, look, already people are responding to London Bridge is falling down. It has now. Not yet. London Bridge is down. Your version's the nursery rhyme. It has now. Of course it's a nursery rhyme. Let's see what's going on now.
Well, if you're anything like me, you would stick the bloody big, heavy boxes of laundry detergent away from the supermarket.
This is in reaction videos. Because people can't be bothered to research. Here we go. No sound. All covering the same. What Sky News doing? What happens after the death of the Queen's death? That'd be interesting. It's more natural than she was younger. Start the puppets. Codename London Bridge. I told you. See? I told you. They don't bloody read it between the lines. Arrangements code-named a London Bridge has long been planned in the Constitution with the government. Told you? I'm not surprised they're only just coming out with that. It's always been known what the arrangements for this plan. Back to last a whole month. 10 days, that's 12 days, that's 2 weeks. Lasting to after the Queen's funeral. Public holiday after mark respect. And shows cancelled. Postponed. Okay. London Bridge is falling down as their plans for the world. No. You got the global news as well, taking their stance. They all have the similar slant, what they need to report.
Decency and a genuine caring warmth.
Or wearing
That
black.
so much. That she was humble, she was caring, so much grace. Queen Elizabeth has been a huge part of my life from childhood to this day.
All convenient wearing black.
Thinking about
They
it,
all know in
Queen is on
advance.
our money, is on our passport. And with all of that changing now to King Charles III, it's going to be something new to get used to.
Absolutely. It doesn't really roll off the
No, I was still calling him Prince Charles.
Right,
so
right. Yeah, no, it is. And Queen Camilla as well. Let me ask
Oh
you this,
my
for the
god, did
younger
you just hear
generation.
that? Queen Camilla. I don't think she'd be called that. Not after what happened to you can imagine what some public in England will be like. You're gonna have her as Queen. Camilla, after what happened to Princess Diana and all that affair. I think people might not be happy. I'll go back to the article because of this. This is the real facts, not mainstream media. The upper levels, as I said, the Council of 9 and the Council of 13 go along here. The Council of 500, among others. In 1992, Dr. John Coleman published, and I will play that video here. They published Conspirator's Hierarchy, the story of the Media 300, with laudable scholarship, and Dr. Coleman identifies the players, carefully details the Illuminati agenda of the worldwide domination control. On his page 161 of his book, this summarizes the intent and composes the Committee 300 as follows. One world government, one unity system, and a permanent non-elected hierarchy. They've already started in my area in England, Agenda 2030 smart cities and policies, and much more advanced technologies. They self-select from among their members in the form of the feudal system, as it was in the Middle Ages. In this one-world entity, population will be limited by restrictions on the number of children per family. Doesn't sound like China. Wars and famines until 1 billion. This is what the dream of the price hikes in gas, electric, and food rises, innovation, monetary system. Is that Hunger? It is that Hunger Games. Useful, the ruling class, the areas which will be strictly and clearly defined, remain on the total world population. There are rations, by the way, your water, electric, and gas. There will be no middle classes, only rulers and servants, right? All rulings will be uniform under a legal system, in their words. This is 1992 status. Before what I know as well. It's amazing, isn't it? You find out. The legal system of the World Court participated in the undefined code of laws backed up by one world government police force, such UN, military-style policing. But it's more to do with technology when you see futuristic movies and you see the scripts and so forth. to ensure their policies are in place. All former countries who had no national boundaries shall exist. The system will be the basis of the welfare state. Those who are obedient and subservient to the one-world government will be awarded tax credits, by the way, will be awarded with the means to live. Those who are rebellious will simply be starved to death, cut off all the social credits. Yeah. Or be declared outlaws. We're already targeted, so what hell? Thus, a target for anyone who wishes to kill them. It's the Hunger Games. What do you think they did that program for? Privately owned firearms or weapons of any kind will be prohibited. And this is going back to 1994. What do you think they're doing everything for now? The sheer magnitude and complex web of deceit surrounding individuals, organisations involved, and this conspiracy is mind-boggling, even for the most stringent among us. Most people react with disbelief and skepticism because the topics are unaware that they have been conditioned, brainwashed, to react with, the skepticism by traditional media, control media, and influencers. Alright? By mother of all mind control organisations known, there's always been them. Tabletop Institute in Human Relations in London, central London. Okay. Author deprogram, as the guy says here, the top 13 bloodline families say that most people have built inside of the short circuit the mind for critical explanation processes when it comes to certain sensitive topics. The CIA term for conditioned type of responses, which dead ends an individual's thinking, terminates debate or examination of the topic. It goes in to the programming of the mind control, trauma-based mind control. For example, intention of the word conspiracy, they go into quite detail this article. Whilst they're in the womb, yeah? And also it goes into the mind program, mind project. So what's happening now, it's nothing new. I think there was a video of this guy explaining this. I just wanted to, it's in the article. Let me just have a look. The plan instigated by this globalist elites, goes back a long time as well, including the Spanish War of 1898, World War I and II, and the Russian 1917 events there. Great Depression in 1929 was orchestrated. The rise of Nazi army, no more. I mean, it's one thing after the other. Okay. The crisis of democracy. You got a beamer there. And you got the constructions of underground cities. Why do they need that? War and drugs. Right? CIA, the biggest drug lord on the planet. Drug money is used to pay for intimate budget projects, including construction of huge underground cities. Why do you think they want them? Because they're housing both for human and alien working with a secret US government. All of this is amazing trumped up war to cover for the massive fortunes can be dated back to the 12th century, when only a core group of 9 members in a minority group at that time was called Knight Templars. the military arm of the Illuminati secret society. Prior Son kicked off the Crusades, the latest for over a century, and it quotes what type of the Illuminati converted the wealth and was jealous of the Templars' power. The French king, being a puppet of the privy of the Sun, set out to arrest all the Templars in France 13th of October. While many Templars were seized and tortured, including the Grand Master of the Lodge, and many other Templars who had been tipped off escaped and reinforced in Portugal. That became the Knights of Malta, and later became the Scottish Rite Freemasonry. The acquisition of greater wealth and natural resources and power, political power and others, and forces to the Illuminati, controlling human suffering and loss of innocent lives, are none reason for these individuals who are aligned with the very dark and the four-dimensional alien beings, reptilian shape-shifting, that's my added words. The dominant group of the fourth dimension aliens controlling and manipulating human Illuminati, known as the Drakos reptilians. There you go. Drakos. Not all alien reptilians have a negative spiritual or intent. The mind control. It's prevalent to deprogram Illuminati government mind control individuals such as, and it quotes who it was, and the samples cases. Kathy O'Brien. So I want to see the stuff on that video. I did find it one time. I'm not sure it's still linked with the video. Excuse me. I'm not sure. So, no, there is a video, so I'm just going to see if there is one to find. It's a soul and a spirit that they want to try and go back. Right, underground cities. I'd block me. Right. But now, let's go back to the image of London, the Queen Palace in central London. Let's see if there's anything on the sun. There's no audio. All lined up. Just gives the world an image. Daily Mail. They're all lined up outside, all along the barriers. They all knew in advance. All the old pictures of the Queen are lovely. An old documentary. It's really good. Well, I won't cover that. Anyway. Hello, Tanya. Did you hear? Don't believe Australian mainstream media about the Queen. Because I'm showing you some facts and truths. How are you? Let's get into my channel. Got something going on. They don't like the truth, do they? Let me change my channel over. Well, that's something warm. A snack to eat.
Special place by definition is where the fifth largest That message coming probably to the residents of California very soon, then the United States, then the world. Welcome back, beautiful.
They made took me other stream earlier today, Daniel. You see what I'd done. What's happened around here. The gas sign because I'm streaming this subject. The gas. Well, the noise campaign outside. Sorry, because I'm streaming this subject. The noise campaign outside. Sorry, because I'm streaming this subject. Snakes, demons, and one more to go. There's quite a few more to go. What's the spiritual war? The snakes and demons. Okay. Right. So we go back to this article. So I went on to the New World Order, right? Let me go down. British and Israel connection. You really want to know what the Crown, the state, and the monarchy has been up to? The Royal Times has always had a hand in a lot of things, haven't they? So, one world federal society controlled by British hierarchy is, of course, by persecuting the state of Israel by the British-inspired 1917 declaration, and then using Christian fundamentalist propagandists to promote the idea Christ will physically return to earth and will rule a kingdom of God on earth for 1,000 years, the millennia from his earthly throne, and you guessed it, in Jerusalem. The only problem is that after million upon millions of deceived Christians and fundamentalists passively give up their constitutional liberties, their country's sovereignty, and their freedom in mistake believe of the crop-pious end of the world Armageddon and end time scenario. It is an achievable prophecy from God that must take place before we can be delivered into the happy world of the new millennia. They will finally discover that they've been deceived into satanic, federal, a slave society that will no longer tolerate any talk of Christ or Christianity, assuming they're still alive to enjoy the kingdom of God on earth. The frontline promoters and propagandists of the kingdom of God on earth scenario include the well-known TV personalities like British Israel promoter John Hay, GGE, Benny Hill, and it goes board and the Trinity Broadcasting Network, Jesse, and quite a few others, Billy, Robert, quite well-known celebrities in that area, among others. But their ranks are also swollen with lesser-known pro-Israel Zionist promoters who show up UHF and cable TV and radio stations every Sunday morning to preach. There should be released great tribulation and time prophecies. And let me just go up. And a great large incentive of the Taliban employs shouting, flamboyant movements created by phrases and various historics to pump up the emotions of the audience in order to achieve a specific technique of brainwashing the conversions. The Illuminati one plays both sides of the Christianity card to promote the gullible into disillusion. They either utilize the persona of historians, and it quotes which one's the Christ conspiracy, the great story ever told, to sell the idea that Christ never even existed, or they use their opposite and their infamous kingdom of God on earth promoters to sell the ad again in the End Times package. Either way, the narrative God will lose. They either lose their spiritual foundation altogether and acquiescence to the humanistic or Masonic ploys, or they go the whole hog into cheering for the end of time scenario to unfold so they can get it over with and race into the arms of Jesus, who will greet them on his golden throne and the newly built temple in Jerusalem. These end times prophecies have no relationship whatsoever with the words or earthly missions of Jesus Christ. Sincere Christians need to recall an important statement that Christ made while on earth. Christ said, "My kingdom, my Father's kingdom is not of this world." Christ was specifically rejecting the prophecies being promoted by a dominant Jewish sect of that day known as Pharisees. And priests had been predicting the Messiah would come to earth and establish a kingdom of God and rule from his throne in Jerusalem, overthrowing the Roman ancestors who ruled Judas in the time. This is exactly the same tale that the named Christian fundamentalist preachers are selling to multitudes people around the world. Plain and simple, the realization stinks, and in and ye, and these are a reminder that the praise priests who got Pontius Pilatus, is it? And put him to death, Christ to death. You can then begin to remove the mist from your eyes, recognize the fundamentalist Christians propaganda agents are off, and get this, the satanic British hierarchy. Christ came to earth to remind humanity that man is more than flesh, and that man is spirit, clothed with an outer vestment of flesh. Christ wanted to remind mankind that the virtues of love, honor, forgiveness, and were the most important attributes to guide your whole daily life. Christ's example through rejected of materialism and corrupt and deception, so plenty witnessed the lives of the above named end time propagandists. Honest Christians need to awaken and throw out the satanic infiltrators within their midst and in their pulpits, and return to embracing to the true message of Jesus Christ. This deception is nothing short of diabolical in the extreme. Here we have Masonic con artists, pious fundamentalists, Christian pastors who are duping and gullible people into swallowing the British Israel end times theme book and hook and line and sinker. The chapters of the Union Jack below states they only use Christians to destroy Christianity, and truer words are never spoken. The Union Jack is posted below, and entirety thanks to the assistance of readers to supply the previous missing chapter. Let's have a look. The origin of Union Jack, conspiracy, mockery of Christ, in Book of Revelation, verses 1 and 8. It is made of two outstanding crosses. X is Alpha, plus is Omega, and this is what Christ called himself. The rulership of the world by British Empire is an perception, is it, of the sovereignty of Jesus Christ. The mongrel banner shown on the front cover violates the mind of the determined tyrant who acquired his mother's fortune in America. On one hand, your carnage, this half-Union Jack, half-stars and stripes mean more than just a freak flag flying in the breeze. It represents a satanic conspiracy and control of the world with a persona of Christianity that opposes the grace of Jesus Christ. 300-page book. The British Israel propaganda and deceit, the political mechanism, the right wing. Identification of the British in Israel and its goals. The world, it goes into this as well. It goes into the British Israel and the Masonry and the Catholic Church, the hope of Israel and triumph of Christ. Masonry and British Islamism. It's about awakening on the seekers and truth. It's quite an old book apparently. Introduction and dictation. very old book where it was rings. Let me skip to the last page and see what day. Don't fall asleep while I do it. Let's go try and go. I'll download it and save it for next time. Alright, let's go back. Tony's gone. Right. I'll go back to see who's actually covering the Queen for the painting. Oh, great. Got the subject. Prepare for chaos. I won't share it, I'll just let it play.
Why are you spending hundreds of dollars on products for your face, but then when it comes to your balls, you're buying the cheapest stuff possible? You need products that are made for men, by men.
The Queen is dead. This will be the talk of mainstream media for the next 48 to 72 hours as a huge shift in geopolitics is expected to take place. We don't talk very much about the monarchy here on this channel because we don't believe in the subservience that is relinquished to citizens because of a queen and queen driven mentality. However, this will disrupt our way of life. You will see more chaos in geopolitics in the next couple of months than you would have expected because of this singular event. So we do have to take note that this has happened. Of course, we do have empathy for those that are in mourning, and we understand that things are about to change. Poland says that there is a high risk now for war with Russia in the next couple of years. They have 5% of their GDP defense spending budget targeting NATO's highest defense spending, saying that they are preparing right now to go to war with Russia. The White House says that it is the decision of NATO whether they should enact Article 5, and that is to bring all acting parties of NATO against Iran, because they say that they have proof now that Iranian cyber attacks targeted Albania. The Albanian prime minister announced the severing of all diplomatic relations with Iran after this cyber attack. It happened around the time of the Mecca conference, which had to be canceled due to a terror threat. We saw the Iranian embassy in Albania burning their books and burning ledgers outside of the embassy in preparation to be removed from the country. The IAEA says that Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium now exceeds permissible limits by 19 times. Israeli media is reporting that the latest talks between the United States of America and Israel indicate that there is no nuclear agreement that will be held with Iran. British Foreign Ministry says that the Iranian cyber attack on Albania is unacceptable and Britain will hold Iran accountable. The Prime Minister of Israel says that it is up to Israel now to prevent Iran and its militias from approaching Israeli sea areas. The IAEA is again reporting that they cannot provide assurances that Iran's nuclear program is exclusively peaceful. Uranium stockpiles, they say, are showing a preparation to build nuclear weapons. Greece is warning NATO, the European Union, in the United States of America, as well as the United Nations, that there is a risk of military conflict now between Greece and Turkey. This is exactly the chaos in geopolitics that we are on the watch for, because this is the type of event that will send us further into this global conflict. Greece sent out a report to its allies saying that the tension with Turkey could escalate into open armed conflict on the territory, the second open armed conflict on the territory of Europe. The prime minister says that in a message to Erdogan, it is unacceptable for Greece to accept threats and to accept challenges against Greece's sovereignty by the Turkish country. The U.S. National Security Advisor says that a new bill includes designating Taiwan as a major non-NATO ally to the United States of America, which will have long-reaching implications for the U.S. war against China. The U.S. National Security Advisor continues that China's invasion of Taiwan remains a clear-cut threat to all Western peace. I will meet, he says, with the congressional leaders to discuss the bill that will change our policy. The Russian ambassador to China says that the USA is deliberately provoking Beijing to carry out uncalculated actions in Taiwan. The Chinese Foreign Ministry says that Washington must stop using Taiwan against China. China will respond firmly to everything that undermines China's sovereignty and its security. Russia has requested a meeting of the Security Council on the supply of Western weapons to Ukraine and how the West is now directly involved in a war against Russia. Russia says that the yuan is the primary alternative to the United States dollar as the reserve currency of the world, and of course to the euro as well. Russia's top banks are switching away from SWIFT and now using an equivalent Chinese system called KIPS. The EU and USA sanctions are pushing Russia into the Chinese financial ecosystem, where $80 trillion worth of Russia's commodity reserves will be traded and supplied through Asia. Putin says that Gazprom and China have moved to yuan settlements for gas in the proportion of 50-50, completely away from the USD. Germany's economy minister says that you can imagine parts of the economy will be stopping, will simply halt production for the time being because of the energy crisis. Russia's gas control giant Gazprom has taunted Europe with what is being called an evil or sinister video release. This video showed a long winter with snow and ice sweeping across all of Europe. The 2-minute video titled "Winter Will Be Long" shows how Europe will freeze. Many will freeze to death amid that China's invasion of Taiwan remains a clear-cut threat to all, because they say that they have proof now that Iranian cyber attacks targeted Albania. The Albanian Prime Minister announced the severing of all diplomatic relations with Iran after this cyber attack. It happened around the time of the MEC conference, which had to be canceled due to a terror threat. We saw the Iranian embassy in Albania burning their books and burning ledgers outside of the embassy in preparation to be removed from the country. As that Iran's stockpile of, so we do have to take note that this has happened. Of course, we do have empathy for those that are in mourning, and we understand that things are about to change. Poland says that there is a high risk now for war with Russia in the next couple of years. They have 5% of their GDP defense spending budget targeting NATO's highest defense spending, saying that they are preparing right now to go to war with Russia. The White House says that it is the decision of NATO whether they should enact Article 5, and that is to bring all acting parties of NATO against Iran, because they say that they have proof now that Iranian cyber attacks targeted Albania. The Albanian Prime Minister announced the severing of all diplomatic relations with Iran after this cyber attack. It happened around the time of the MEC conference, which had to be canceled due to a terror threat. We saw the Iranian embassy in Albania burning their books and burning ledgers outside of the embassy in preparation to be removed from the country. The IAEA says that Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium now exceeds permissible limits by 19 times. Israeli media is reporting that the latest talks between the United States of America and Israel indicate that there is no nuclear agreement that will be held with Iran. British Foreign Ministry says that the Iranian cyber attack on Albania is unacceptable and
Not the
Britain
change
will
for England,
hold
definitely.
Iran accountable. The Prime Minister of Israel says that it is up to Israel now to prevent Iran and its militias from approaching Israeli sea areas. The IAEA is again reporting that they cannot.
Are you dreading going back to an office at the moment? Or what if I could show you a way to create a lifestyle business that would allow you to never have to return to an office again and never have to work for a boss or even have to
This 17-second morning ritual is one of the fastest ways to melt fat naturally.
How people just like you and me are currently creating online e-commerce businesses right here in the UK and are using these to replace their income and create a business that they can run from anywhere in the world on their terms. So click the button.
Provide it.
Still got that. More distractions.
At some point today, nearly everyone would have stopped what they were doing and absorbed the news. A notice was placed at Buckingham Palace. Flags were lowered. Our longest serving monarch is gone.
This is shape-shifting hands.
At some point, today, nearly everyone would have stopped what they were doing and absorbed the news. A notice was placed at Buckingham Palace. Flags were lowered. Our longest serving monarch is gone. Only on Tuesday did she look robust, appointing the 15th Prime Minister to serve during her reign. In a statement, His Majesty the King said, "The death of my beloved mother, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of the greatest sadness for me and all members of my family. We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother.
His Majesty the King Charles
felt
III.
throughout the country, the realms, and the Commonwealth, and by countless people around the world. During this period of mourning and change, my family and I will be comforted and sustained by our knowledge of the respect and deep affection in which the Queen was so widely held."
We are all devastated by the news that we have just heard from Balmoral. The death of Her Majesty the Queen is a huge shock to the nation and to the world. Queen Elizabeth II was the rock on which modern Britain.
Prepared script.
Our country has grown and flourished under her reign. Britain is the great country it is today because of her. She ascended the throne just after the Second World War. She championed the development of the Commonwealth from a small group of countries to a family of 56 nations, spanning every continent of the world. We are now a modern, thriving, dynamic nation.
Just to see they've got a TV show on Amazon
Provided us with the
already.
stability and the strength that we needed. She was the very spirit of Great Britain, and that spirit will endure.
Today we mourn the passing of a remarkable sovereign. It is a deep private loss for the royal family, and our first thoughts are with them at this time. The nation shares in their grief.
Throughout the day, small unsettling indicators emerged, notes being passed around the Commons. Something was up.
I know I speak on behalf of the entire House when I say that we send our best wishes to Her Majesty the Queen, that she and the royal family are in our thoughts and prayers at this moment.
Doctors had expressed concern over the Queen's condition. Charles had cancelled an engagement. Then news that all senior members of the family were heading to Balmoral. And the grim look on faces as Prince William drove his uncles Andrew and Edward. Grim look on faces as Prince William were heading to cancelled an engagement. Then news that all senior doctors had expressed concern over the Queen's condition. Charles had cancelled an engagement. Then news that all senior members of the family were heading to Balmoral. And the grim look on faces as Prince William drove his uncles Andrew and Edward through the gates. Finally, a simple statement. The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon.
For more than 70 years, Queen Elizabeth has been the great constant in our national life. She has inspired us, on occasion comforted us, and always personified values we hold dear.
The United Kingdom now enters a period of national mourning as we reflect on a Queen who kept her promise and dedicated her life to duty. Jason Farrell, Sky News, Balmoral.
1926 she was born to the year 2022. So. You add the numbers together, right? 1926 and 2022. So that equals 24. Add 4 and 2 equals 6. 666. Let's see how many people are on Buckingham Palace. Not many. Interesting. You've got a lot of media. Not many people. It's raining. No doubt there are going to be things in the papers. So it's like someone's talking about Queen Elizabeth finally reunites with her father. That's more legit. The devil. Sorry, I should laugh. The way the title is.
Getting sick. All the plagues that you created in these labs to destroy God's children, your children are going to be in on this particular broadcast. Because right now the whole world is in mourning after the news that Queen Elizabeth II has just passed away at age 96. You got Christian church mourning, you got everybody mourning, you got media at a standstill right now. Everybody is at a standstill. It's like the whole earth is stood still, right? You got religious folks, different world leaders coming to speak on their behalf. You even got people in our communities mourning. You know, some people even in the street shedding tears to the so-called queen, right? I don't call none of these people kings and queens, because I know who the real kings and queens are. What's going on right now just shows how wicked people really are. and how confused people really are and how much the media really affects them. Listen, I'm going to tell it like it is in this video. I'm going to offend a lot of you religious folks. I'm going to offend a lot of people in general. You're going to call me insensitive. You're going to say a lot of things, and you're going to draw a lot of conclusions before you even hear the whole matter, because that's what a lot of ignorant people do anyway. But if you listen, and then you listen carefully to the word of God, along with
I'll just play that audio in background.
that I'm going to bring when it comes to the Queen Elizabeth II, then you'll know that this is definitely spiritually inspired by the Creator. It's true. Yeah, we gotta keep it down. We gotta keep it down. So for those who've been living underneath the rock, Queen Elizabeth just passed away hours ago. We're talking about Queen Elizabeth II, who has reigned for 7 decades now on the throne of the United Kingdoms, the longest reign in British monarch history. She died at age 96. Yep, the Queen is gone. Yeah, she died Thursday afternoon at the Balmoral Castle, state in Scottish Highlands. Federal officials announced. And you know, some of y'all like, wow, Bree, why the shouts of joy? Why the cheers? Why? Well, let me tell you what the scriptures tell us. The scriptures tell us that, and we go into Proverbs 11, we're going to chapter 11, verse 10, when it says, when it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoices. And when the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. So when the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. Yeah, that part. Yeah. Yeah. So the Most High God reigns, and He reigns strong. And some people are saying, well, why are you saying that the Queen is wicked? Why wicked? Why put that title on Queen Elizabeth? Well, the Bible tells me to judge an individual by their fruits. When it comes to Queen Elizabeth, we're talking about the same one who pretty much shielded her son, Prince Andrew, from the Epstein case. We're talking about the same Queen Elizabeth that spent millions upon millions of dollars on legal fees and lawyers to protect her son from the connection that he had with Epstein. So we're looking at somebody who defends wickedness. We're talking, for those who don't know about the Epstein case, we're talking about child trafficking on an unprecedented level. Not to mention some of the rumors that surrounded Queen Elizabeth herself. If I'm judging by her fruits, then, I'm looking at a tree full of rotten apples. You hear me? I'm looking at some polluted, sick fruit. Not even to discuss some of the rumors about the 10 missing children from Camp Looms, Canada, and those connections that, and we're going to say all alleged, everything's alleged, everything's a rumor, but let's just say the person who actually made those claims was arrested. Yeah, snatched up off the streets. I wonder why. The world will only imagine. Yeah, we're talking about those children that were missing in that indigenous community, we're talking about there's a lot of connections. Matter of fact, I'm going to go with it today. Matter of fact, let me take you to another very, very eerie situation that took place with Queen Elizabeth. It happened about, I want to say it was back in 2014-ish. If I'm wrong on that, y'all can fact check me, but I'm going to bring up a source right now. And everybody mash the thumbs up on the video. Everybody mash the thumbs up on the video. Let's not play no games. I will slow this down. I will slow the momentum down just to make sure the likes is matching. You already know how we get down those kids. Now, let's talk about Queen Elizabeth. Let's go here. Let's talk about a real strange murder mystery that took place on her estate. I'm not the one calling it a murder mystery. That's what the media was calling a murder mystery, right? Where a young lady who was missing got found chopped, screwed, and mutilated on her property during a Christmas party. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't make it up. Akova Israel, thank you for the $10 contribution. Says you better tell it. You already know. We don't play no games on this side. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
British authorities plan to conduct an autopsy later on Tuesday. Incredibly, a body found on the Queen's estate in Sandringham. Cause of death not yet known. Royal correspondent Max Foster joining me now from London with more on that. How bizarre, Max.
How bizarre. Let's go back. I want y'all to listen carefully.
Autopsy later on Tuesday. Incredibly, a body found on the Queen's estate in Sandringham.
Oh, really? A body was found on her estate during a Christmas party. Did somebody say high holy hell day to the elite? Did somebody say sacrificial lamb? Let's continue.
Cause of death not yet known. Royal correspondent Max Foster joining me now from London with more on that. How bizarre. Absolutely real murder mystery, isn't it? Apparently.
Wait. Now, I want y'all to peek this. Earlier, this is the reason I rewind. First, the news correspondent says they were still looking at the odd trying to figure out what was the cause of death. Then this gentleman jumps to the and says, real murder mystery. So, if the body is still undergoing an autopsy, how do you know this person was murdered? So, that just raises so many flags and talks to how the media come into certain things, how they be pleasing with certain information, as if they knew this person was murdered. And later on, it came out that this person was chopped, mutilated, like Jack the Ripper got to it. And we're talking about on the Queen's property. How is this possible? How did nobody get charged? How did this get swept under the rug? How can somebody chop, mutilate this woman and place the body in Queen Elizabeth's estate, on her estate? How is that even possible, ladies and gentlemen? How is that possible? Of all the security that she has, you mean to tell me Jack the Ripper and snatched some girl off the streets, ripped her to shreds, and somehow strategically placed it on Queen Elizabeth's estate? Judge these people by their fruits. If you judging her by her fruits, there's a lot of innocent bloodshed that seems to be surrounding these royal houses. Somebody said it. How, Sway? How? Let's continue.
Some human remains on the estate on New Year's Day, and that's where this investigation.
Pardon me, it was on New Year's Day. I thought it was Christmas. New Year's Day, another high holy day for Satanists and Luciferians. Started right around the holidays, from December, from about November to January 1st. They're doing a lot of rituals because that's where all of the holidays are placed. Right in between that time period, all the way up to January 1st, where the spell is broken. So they had to do one last hoorah on that day, right? One last hoorah.
Already 9.
Just to give you a sense of this estate, it is the Queen's.
This is a ritual, satanic ritual to pull the masses.
It's absolutely vast. There are religions within this estate.
What's my feel like?
It is open to the public in many places. Only around the house is very private and secure. And this happens.
So they say only around the house is only private and secure. So they saying if somebody just happened to, lay it on the property. Right. Okay.
My goodness.
Only a mile away? You mean to tell me a person can get within a mile of the confines of
people are spiritually waking up? What a time to be alive.
See, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, you demons, your time's up, I tell you. What you're doing to people, don't they? Around the world for too long. Jesus Christ. The Lord our Savior. I'll tell you that now.
Proverbs 11 says a false balance is abomination to the Lord.
And you're so shifting demonic entities.
Then
Can't
comes
make
shame.
out.
But when the lowly is wisdom, the integrity of the upright shall guide them. But the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them.
This is a period that talks about in the book of Revelations as well.
So I don't care how you look at these people. I don't care if you look at these people as
that's a King James Bible.
I don't care if you look at them as these high-minded, city and everything, the epitome of all was righteous. I don't care how you look at these people just because they have money.
Wow.
In the day of wrath, in the day of judgment, they will not
I don't need it because it's a Trump can do worse.
They will get exactly what's coming to them, and that's fire.
Well, I can't get rid of it until I went to the contract.
While she's sitting there laid up stiff, while Queen Elizabeth is laid up stiff,
the medication might turn up tomorrow, then I'll just do something else.
So everybody who are religious and it's sad, everybody who idolize these individuals, you're on the wrong platform. I'm
The times we're living in.
I'm gonna expose how they live.
Wow. So many people already said
you could say this is what the police told us about it earlier this morning.
Wow.
I think the circumstances indicate that she is probably
the victim of murder. Y'all gotta understand these people have been sacrificing for a long
time. Satanic.
Let me go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 15. And it reads, all these things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perished in his righteousness. And there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in his wickedness. In his wickedness. So sometimes there are situations in which righteous people die. They die young through their righteousness. And then there's situations where wicked people, they prolong their lives with their wickedness. See, there's something that happens with these elites. There's something they do. It's a nasty little habit that they have. A real demonic little fetish that they're into. And it's called adrenochrome. Yeah, it's called adrenochrome. And what it is the bloodletting of children. And that was why sort of women and children, things of that nature. These children have something called adrenochrome in their blood when they're being murdered. It's a fear. It's actually a fear hormone. And these so-called elitists, they actually, according to the conspiracy theories, it's all alleged. You gotta say that. It's all alleged. According to the conspiracy, right? They actually drink this and
hello, EL.
in order to prolong their lives. So we'll just say we can find a way to prolong themselves.
Wow. What's it saying? Was it off?
This blood, your Kim Kardashian, she does blood.
Right, I'm going to do rid of that one. Let's do this one. You won't mind. I've got to share this one. How are you, EL? You hear about what's going on in UK? How you doing? The snakes and demons, eh? Right, let's just screen share this video. He's always others. This is his channel. I hope you can hear it.
The Queen is dead, and we are now a step closer to the next.
Right, That's what it's called. Go in the other video we did about the
gas masks. These gas mask is dead, and we are now a step closer to the next catastrophe as portrayed in The Economist magazine. You have 7 pictures. 7 is G, the G of Freemasonry,
Yep.
all seeing eye clock, shaped in a pyramid. You have the ducks of Coronation Street. The dead duck symbolises that the Queen has died, and that these events are next on the agenda. You have the crown bug. You have a nuclear explosion. This looks like it's going to be a nuclear power plant in Ukraine. You have the solar mass ejection, which comes from the sun's corona, crown. Everything's to do with the crown.
Yeah.
What will happen to the crown? What will be the future of it? You have the meteor, which I believe is coming soon. You have what looks like La Palma, which will raise the sea level.
That's right.
Cause a tsunami. You have the pig. Maybe it has to do with the banks, the body parts, or it could have a religious connection. Now, you have the gas masks. These gas masks in the Soviet Union are called monkey masks. These are to do with the monkey magic, which comes from the potion. He took the potion the least. This generation, he has no mask, but he has to go to war. It's all to do with the crown. And they are going to create these events in order to create a new age.
Yep.
And this is what they're going to do. They're going to use man-made so-called natural disasters
We're
to trim the herd.
2030.
And this event is coming closer now. And it will probably happen. The first one will probably happen in a couple of months.
Oh yeah. December, January.
Now, Prince Charles
November, actually.
has been called Prince Charles III. Now, Prince Charles is going to have trouble with the crown.
Yeah.
British crown is the crown of Solomon. It is a Masonic crown. When the monarchy is being coronated with the crown, they take part in a secret ritual where they are anointed with the music of Zadok the priest, who was the priest of the Temple of Solomon. They are anointed in a secret ritual. During the coronation, the monarch. Now that coronation won't be for at least a year. And Charles is going to have trouble being king. And you're going to have a lot of problems in society. And this is all being generated so that we go into a new age. Now, what is interesting is Boris Johnson's comment on the Queen after her death. And I've said that through predictive program, through the mentioning of waves and tsunamis in Indonesia, you had first wave, second wave, third wave, you had the crown bug. It's all to do with the crown, all to do with this transition into this new age. Boris Johnson talks about the 7 decades of her rule. 7 is the G of Freemasonry. So, in this next catastrophe cover, you have 7 pictures. That is the G of Freemasonry. You have the dead ducks, the dead duck from Coronation Street. So the Queen has just died, so these events are closer. Here you have the G of Freemasonry in the square and compass, the duality, and then the G, the 7. So the duality is like the as above, so below. So they believe in the two aspects unified.
So this is excellent breakdown. So go and watch if you want. I'm going to end my stream now. This is excellent. Really is excellent. Oh my goodness me. He's doing God's work, definitely. And decoding. Wow. So I'm ending the stream there. Yeah. And hi. Right. I'm closing the stream now and I've got to chill out. So, blessings to prayers for awakening people. These saints and demons, this is why it's got this logo in the stream. They're all around us. And just be aware. Take care.